Thank
How you
you.
doing, Brother Javon? It's been a long time since I've seen
Thank you, Minister Lee. We do appreciate you being here. Um, I would just want to take a moment. So, Minister Lee sent out an email like a week and a half ago
you.
to, some of the Black presence here in Los Angeles. And it was really just about creating a space where Black leaders would get to be able to get together,
This is a
have
reminder.
Alexa off, where Black leadership can get together and have conversation on how or what's available, what are we doing, how are we doing it, how can we work together, how could we move more collectively. And so sometimes it's really hard getting Black folks together. And
Mm-hmm.
so I did attend the meeting, so I wanted to return the favor, and I wanted
No,
to
thank you.
make sure that I put you in the midst of Black space and where you could get some of this energy and hopefully, get some of the projects that you're working on. We can find ways to support you, but there's nothing but love and support here. So I'm glad
I
that you made it.
share. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so and we're also, very proactive and intentional with making sure that we bring our brothers in with us. And yes, our org is called Unique Women's Coalition, but we are really about making sure that we are having a universal approach to the way that we move with our community. So this is an us thing, I like to always say. And so I want to make sure that we are bringing us into the building. And so speaking of us, one of our other brothers just joined us. We have on the lower left-hand corner, Jesse, King Jesse. Won't you introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. Can y'all hear? Hopefully, y'all can hear me. I have my AirPods on here. What's going on, everybody? There are a couple of familiar faces. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jesse. I actually work here in LA for the LGBT Center, actually the Trans Wellness Center. I'm originally from the Bronx, New York, born and raised, but now I'm an Angelino, unfortunately, fortunately.
Hey.
But yeah, pretty much one thing I know that I'm also one of the board members for Flex United. I'm the National Director of Advocacy now, taking over Shayla's old position. And one thing I know that I did promise, make a commitment to myself and to the rest of the organizations is to start showing up in places that I should be in, especially for our Black community. As being mixed race myself, visibility is very important. So that's one main goal of mine for 2020 and going forward, is to make sure that I'm spreading myself as thinly as possible for all the communities that I'm a part of, to make sure that the advancement of Black and Brown people continues.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of
Awesome
course.
job.
So beautiful. Okay, so let's see. On Julia Rose, who's this loveliness? Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, I'm Julia. Nice to meet everyone.
Hi,
Can
Julia.
you hear me?
Yes, we
Hi,
can.
I am here in New York City in the middle of the night. So I'm head wrapped and in the all together, fully exposed. So I didn't want to give you a full view. My first time meeting some of you. I know Deanna. I was invited here by Deanna and Tracy. I'm also friends with Samantha. I did not know you were going to be here from Philadelphia.
Samantha.
I'm originally from Philadelphia, so I know Samantha, even though she's in Jersey now. And I know Samaya very well. And I brought my cousin as well, Davina. She's here, Galaxy 850.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, Julia, for attending, for showing up. We do appreciate you.
Thank you.
And so, get Miss Galaxy, it's on you.
Hello, how are you today? How's everyone?
Hi,
My
we're great.
name's my name is Davina, and I'm here to keep you guys company. And
Well, we appreciate you. Where are you from, Davina?
I'm from New York City.
Oh, okay.
I'm originally from Trinidad and Tobago, but right now I live in New York City.
I love it. Thank you. For you New Yorkers, we do appreciate you all staying up late for us. This makes us think, okay, we should do this a little earlier just so that we could, we can make things a little earlier for our people who are
Agreed.
in different. Wait, you sleepy? You sleepy, Nina?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. That's fine. So, thank you, Davina. Welcome. Oh, and my wonderful, gorgeous niece, Miss Samaya. Introduce yourself.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, y'all.
Hi. How are you?
I'm Samaya. I'm from LA. I do nails.
You do nails?
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, Samaya just started her own nail business. I've seen a few photos, and bravo, Queen. Get your coins.
Hi, everybody. How y'all doing?
We're doing well.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you for
Good.
coming through. And then we over here to the left, Queen Samantha.
Hi, everyone. I think I know
Hello.
almost everyone on this call. If I don't, I'm
Yeah.
Samantha Joe Dado. Um, I'm excited to be here. I usually don't join Zooms. It's my anxiety and my overwhelmness. Tracy, Jovan, Queen Victoria, Deanna, Chanel. Hey, listen, I know all y'all. Jesse, what's up? Like Galaxy, Samaya, Julia, what's good? Like, I'm just like really still up because y'all know I'm kind of old and I be in bed by this. Well, I'm in bed. I'm about to take me a makeup wipe to this face, and put me some tea tree oil on. But my cousin definitely was like, "Get on the call, get on the call," and I was like, "Okay, okay, okay."
Oh, I love
So I
it.
was like, "I'm gonna just hold on 1 minute before I put my tea tree oil on and." Try to marinate in my melanin in. But thank you all for like making a way during this crazy time where social distancing is so real because of phobia, dysphoria, and all these other things, and like still trying to stay connected with so many people who we in a busy day-to-day life we can't connect with. So like I'm just here to check in, and if you need me, holla at your girl.
Thank you. We appreciate you for coming through, even being
Ow.
even being older and all. So thank you.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm going to claim that. Older is definitely the new normal.
It's all good. Thank you. And last but not least, we have Alexandra.
Hi, Shayla. Hi,
Hi.
lady. I'm here in Long Beach, and thank you for the reminder. Thank you, Tracy, for sending me the link.
Thank you for coming through, Alexandra. So, oh, wait a minute. So this is like Alexis.
Absolutely. Alexis.
Got
Yes.
it. Got it.
Yes. Hi, Alexis. Thank you
Hi,
for coming.
Tracy. Thank you. She said, "Oh, I say, yeah, I get that part." Because
Okay.
I really sleep, but yeah. Hi. Hi, everybody.
Hello. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank
Chanel,
you.
where did you go? So
I was
I'll be
fighting with my dog again.
okay. So I'm going to be right back. I'm going to leave you all in Chanel's hands for a moment. Um, yeah, I have to run. My dog has been waiting for like 4 hours. So because I've been having Zoom calls back to back,
I'm tired of Zoom. I promise you. It's not my new normal. I rebuke it in the name of Jesus.
Okay.
I just want to say a personal thank you, Sammy Joe, because I summoned you, and I know you told me you didn't want to do Zoom anymore, but I love you, and I just felt like everyone
Listen,
should see your face. And thank you.
listen, I got 2 Zooms in me a day. The rest, send me an email and I'll get to it when I
Okay.
can. Tracy, hey, bitch.
So that was
You look,
my
Oh,
Darky
he's so
podcast.
handsome.
Thank you. He hear voices and now he wants to come. He wants to come. Stop that. And he wants to come be nosy. So we're just checking in right now, seeing how everyone's doing. I hope that you're all doing well. I would like to know what is something different that you're doing now that you weren't doing prior to COVID? And I guess I'll pick on Deanna. I'll pick on you.
I actually been doing a lot of reading. I've been doing a lot of meditating, trying to perfect my meditation. Um, a lot of business planning. It's just giving me a lot of time to focus and really get myself in a good direction. So I'm enjoying prison.
Okay.
Yep.
Alexandria, I'm gonna pick on you for a second. How about you? Something that you've been doing different that you weren't doing prior to COVID? I think your mic is still mute, Alexandra.
Okay, so not I guess basically self quarantine hasn't been an issue because I live by myself and I'm single. So, outside of work, I just started working. So this is part of the norm. I mean the mask and all that, that's kind of different for me. So, trying to stock up without hoarding, have the gloves and the mask and all that because not in the hysteria, but just still a little bit concerned. I'm not, super germaphobe or nothing, but this is just interesting. So just nothing but everything, if
Okay,
that makes sense.
it does. Thank you for sharing. Jesse, how about you? What is something that you're doing now that you weren't doing prior?
Attending all these Zoom meetings, I'll tell you what, because I think I'm by now I'm like a guru on Zoom and every other platform that I've been having all these virtual meetings with or on. That's one thing for sure. To be fair, currently like I'm not doing anything really different because I'm still in school. So the show must go on, right? So everything moved to online, to virtual. And I will be continuing my education. I got into Cal State LA, so I'm excited for that. I'll be starting in the fall, which is in August. So work the same. I'm currently working from home. Unfortunately, I was quarantined too because I had potential COVID symptoms. So I've been working from home. I should be going back to the office soon. We're doing remote limited services for folks. But pretty much besides that, I think the really big difference, I guess, or a big difference in my life is now that I'm doing or participating in a lot more connection events, even though they're online. I try my best to disconnect from social media, especially or technological devices because I'm on it for work all day and then school. So I try to kind of limit being on my phone so much and my computer, but as of late, my life has been consumed in that. But I feel better because since everything is virtual now, like I get to at least say that I showed up because I joined the Zoom meeting or, I popped into a live Facebook Live or a live Instagram. So it's helping me achieve that goal also of me, again, spreading myself thinner and showing up for the places or showing up and in the places that I wasn't unfortunately having time for before.
Thank you, Jesse.
Yes.
I forgot your name. Galaxy A50. You're still mute. You have to unmute yourself. Yay! And the question is the same.
Hi.
Hi, hey,
Yeah.
love. And the question is
Hi.
pretty much the same. What is different for you now that wasn't what has changed for you since COVID?
I just been like right now. I've just been like taking everything like really easy. Prior to this, I was going like I guess 100 miles an hour. So with this right now, I'm just taking a little bit of time to really sit back and relax and think about the future. Think about all the things that I should have done that I didn't do before COVID, and how I can, you know, make it better now when it's over, and actually do the things I really wanted to do my entire life.
I love that. Um, let's see. Samantha, wake up.
No.
But besides your 2-day Zoom check in and out, what is something now that for you that's like you're like, oh gosh, maybe good or bad or
Um.
different?
So I always try to look for the half full, not half empty. I am currently cooking way more than I used to. Like, I can't wait till a waiter can say, "Can I start you over appetizers and what your drink is?" I can't wait. But I am currently doing a lot of yoga, like, cause I'm like really not as active. So like that is my new thing that I have not been doing. Like I love the water, and like the YMCA is closed, so I can't swim. And I'm like, yo, I keep falling. I just want to tell y'all, like, y'all be thinking that shit is easy when you look at it, but when you tell your body to do it, I be in here busting my butt, like boom, boom, boom. But I keep trying. Like yoga is not as easy as it's supposed to be. And I think that's the new thing that I'm not doing. The stay at home thing is easy. The social distancing has always been a part of me. Like I have anxiety and I get overwhelmed by crowds. So I've been kind of okay with like this new normal. It's just the yoga. Like I can't move my body and I be talking shit like, oh, that look easy. No, it's not. So if you have not done yoga, try you a beginner's course and see what happens.
Oh, so you out there living risky.
I mean, I should definitely put insurance on myself from this placemat or get me a bigger placemat because I think I need an extra foam. Like I'm falling.
All right. Queen Victoria, what about you? You're mute, so unmute yourself.
Thank you, Chanel. Again, I don't want to take a lot of space. I just want to say thank you again for having me. Uh, Doing differently, slowing down. I think our sister in New York mentioned the same thing. I'm used to moving at 100 miles a minute. Looking at how to do events virtually are different for me. And then really looking at funders, understanding that this time more than ever, trans community needs the most amount of help. Um, Seeing what's going on with our siblings that are, for example, have been in sex work that are out of work, or even I include myself. I'm a consultant. I lost my jobs from here through July. I have no work. So having to look at how to do things differently is one of the most impacting things for me, at least. That's different. Um, and learning how to appreciate everybody, slowing down and really saying, "Hey, we really need to love each other more."
Mm.
So that's what's new for me, and I'm grateful for that. So yeah.
Good, good. Uh, Javon, would you like to share something?
So I'm one that always checks in on people, and I I am checking in more on people. One of my kids tried to commit suicide the other day, and she was one of the strongest. Like, she's one of the leaders in New York out of the youth. And for this to happen, it just opened my eyes to, wow, like, here it is, I'm checking on other people and I need to be checking on leaders, right? Um, I need to be checking on those that stand next to me and are checking on other people. Those are the people that need to be checked on. Like, I'm like, whoa, like I never even thought in a million years, like, uh, it really blew me away. And then with this situation that we have with the COVID-19, you can't go with them to the hospital. You can't get any information once they're in the hospital, and it was a really scary situation. Um, Also, what Victoria said, my sister, finding funding right now for the stuff that we need now, because COVID-19 opened up our eyes to working from home. And I had this conversation with Chayla before you all came on. Um, so we're all working from home. We bought the staff cell phones, laptops, and all of this stuff so they can work from home. Um, when this ban is over, why are we going back to the office? um, that money that we're spending on the rent for the office and the cable and all the stuff at the office, we could use that to put people in homes. Like, I'm I'm really gonna talk to the board about what does this look like, us working from home, like putting that money somewhere else. I heard there was like millions of dollars put to aside for nonprofits to recover from this, right? But what does recovering from this looks like? You know, are we gonna be ready to go back to the office? Like, this is stuff that's making me nervous because we're all susceptible to this. Like, no one is exempt from this. So I've been thinking a lot about not putting people's lives in jeopardy and sending them back to the office, because New York is, whew, like, we have hundreds of people on the thousands of people on the trains and on the buses. So I don't feel like putting my staff's life in jeopardy and saying, hey, let's go back to the office. You know what I mean? So I've been actually thinking a lot and figuring how to network remotely and use our resources. So yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for the work that you do. And I wanted to say that that key part that you talked about leadership and checking in on leaders. I remember when it first happened, and one of my teachers with tears in her eyes, she said, I can't see my grandson. My son is not allowing me to see my grandson. And I honestly did not know what to say to her, and I didn't say anything. And so we have a psychologist, a school psychologist. And so my question to the school psychologist is, what can I say to those people who will come to you and just shock you with the words, and certain things. So thank you for just sharing that piece. I'm going to move on to Julia Rose. Hey, Julia, unmute yourself. Hey.
Hello, hello. Um, so it's I guess it's more scary for me than anything. Um, I've had respiratory issues since I was a child. So this being a respiratory virus, as I'm getting older, it's gotten kind of bad, especially living in New York. It's so congested here, so much pollution. And I've gotten asthma attacks and respiratory infections almost twice a year. So at this point in time, it's like really me barricading myself in the house and learning to control my emotions. As emotional person generally, it is teaching me how to control my emotions more and get a handle on prioritizing what's important in my life. So yeah, I don't want to get heavy, but it's a little scary for me right
Thank you for sharing. And if you need to vent, we're here, and this is what this is space is for. This is a safe space, and we're here to listen to you. And sometimes what I've learned recently is all of the person needs is just for the rest of the world just to stop and listen. Not to give advice, not to point you here, point you there, but just to simply listen. So if this space tonight represents something just for you, for people just to listen to you, we're here to do that for you. Um, hey Nina, hey. I would love to hear you. Please share something that's been different for you that wasn't, before.
To piggyback on Queen Alexandra, she had mentioned about just us being, I think inside, I think to piggyback off of that is that, or being in a quarantine life, I stated last time is that for my experience, I've always had to understand being by myself. So that to me, that wasn't an issue. The issue became when somebody outside of me is now telling me where I can and cannot go independently. So of course I've always been by myself and been able to move throughout the world whenever I wanted to. But then now somebody is telling me, no, you actually can't even do that either. You're gonna stay in your house. You can't go to the grocery store unless you actually run out of food. And then when you run out of food, you gotta go at a specific time so nobody else can touch you and all kind of stuff. So it's just getting a good headspace for that. I guess another component is just being centered with yourself. Like, this is the time where we don't have a lot of distractions distracting us from ourselves. And so for some, those distractions kept you away from certain things that you might not have had time to deal with. But now this is kind of a forcing of you sitting with yourself because you actually cannot go anywhere. And so I extend that strength and that empathy and that compassion to everyone, because I know certain times that might be something people cannot deal with at a particular time. And so like that's really what I'm experiencing and getting to understand that now too. And I'm glad that I think as people of the trans experience, we had a one up of that because we've always been by ourselves and been able to sit with ourselves. But even in that, now we take away all the distractions and we are still in a headspace of like, okay, in a heart space of where am I at with myself? And so that's one thing what I've learned thus far. And just the reducing of my independency, so that's the thing that I've gotten or had to get a new understanding over.
Thank you for sharing. Tracy, it's your turn.
Oh God. Well, nothing's pretty much changed for me. If I wasn't at work, I'm pretty much a homebody anyway.
Okay.
Just so sitting at home and watching TV or listening to music is my thing, really. That's pretty much what I do.
Okay.
But lately we've been doing a lot more work online, so I've been busy with that as well. But nothing different for me. Shit, it's good. Like I don't have to worry about finding something to wear.
Yeah, hallelujah.
Okay, I ain't going nowhere, honey. I can still be in my gown all day.
Yeah,
so that's cute. But
that is.
yeah, I'm good.
That is. Yeah. Well, I've been wearing the same thing too. I'm loving it. Well, for me, what has changed for me is my job is pretty much hands-on. As a teacher, it's hands-on. But I was reaching a point, not from January to March, but prior from January to March, where I was just kind of tired. And we had a rough school year. Most teachers will say this is one of the rough school years ever. We've been in LA, we've had a huge shortage on teachers. And when the teacher doesn't show up, the rest of the work goes to the other teachers. So we're overworked, we're underpaid, and we still have to, whatever the workload is, we still have to turn that in. So I was just at a point where I was tired, and I said, God, I need a break. I really needed some time to sit back, to relax, because I'm always on the go. There's things happening, and I'm going and going and going and going and going. So I don't want to say that this is a blessing from God. I don't want to say that, but I want to say that I am using this time to simply rest and I want to get your name right. Deanna was sharing, I'm writing, I'm waking up in the morning and I'm practicing my breathing exercises. I'm connecting with people more, trying to reach out to people as much as I can. And I'm just really utilizing this time just to like look at life and appreciate life, because so much has happened. And I know someone was sharing about earlier in another conversation, but my uncle died 2 weeks ago. He had a heart attack. For his viewing, only 10 people can see him. For the funeral, only 10 people can be in the space at the same time. For the graveside, only 2 people at the graveside. And that is cut and dry, and that's exactly how it is. And if you don't abide, you need to leave our facility now. So that's how real it's been. And there's lots of situations like that now where it's getting like, whoa. But I'm just taking this as a time to reflect. And I'm appreciating it. And since this has happened, honestly, 4 people that I know have passed away, and it's been pretty much cremation status. Actually, when my uncle died, they told us, "Oh, we're gonna just do. We're just gonna throw him in the box and throw him in the floor." And my aunt was like, "We're not doing that." That's what they told her at the hospital, because they thought it was COVID related. So these are real situations that are happening, and when I tell you I've had to be flexible and creative in my thinking, I've had to challenge myself more than ever, more than ever. And but one thing I know is that when we all leave this situation, we're gonna be some strong bitches. Excuse that word. Strong kings and queens, royals, because this is something like someone else was sharing, that we know how it is to be lonely when we're trying to live in our truth sometimes, and we don't want to go somewhere because we might be concerned of our safety. And now the world can't go anywhere because their health and safety is at risk. And in my head, I'm like, we deal with this all the time. I deal with this all the time. So I think the world now, I think they'll have a better understanding. And I think one of the things I will say to my coworkers the next time they say something smart, I said, "Oh, you experienced that? Imagine what it feels to be like, to be me and have to be worried, is it safe to leave my house?" And I know that'll sound catty, but that's a great point that someone made earlier, that we, I think it was Nina, right?
Yes, it's a teachable moment for them to recognize and realize. And then, like you said, Shana, it shifts the burden of, like, I make our statements. I work so hard to get out of fear.
Mm-hmm.
This fear is everywhere around us. It's our cousin. You're gonna see it everywhere, but what do you do with the fear? And so my thing is, when all this started happening, I was like, wait a minute, you telling me that I can't even go outside by myself? Even though that is a act of advocacy within ourselves, you mean to tell me I have stipulations of going outside now? So let alone I might get killed, let alone I might get assaulted, let alone but now I might get a virus that I can't see.
Right.
So it's bringing that into a place of, okay, I'm gonna abide by certain rules, but I'm not gonna let fear enter me and then bring me all the way back to the space that I worked so hard to get away, that I worked on to get away from and understand. And so this, for all of my people in the experience and everybody, all the allies, everybody, it should be, I believe that you should be in a space of centering yourself to understand the bigger picture of what it is. And thankfully that we have a community in this space. But when you really look at the bigger scheme of things, is that these people who contract this die by themselves. They are getting suffocated by their own body. Unbeknownst to them is that they have to sit there in those spaces and people, I have family members that have passed, and having to understand that nobody can really go to those spaces, and it's really it should shift the narrative and your mindset on what are you really here for? What do you want to do? Everything should be intentional. Everything should be leading in whatever space that you feel led to be. Because
You better
sometimes that's the
speak
thing.
tonight, Nina.
Listen, I'm here. You know what we do. So it's just I don't. I think for us, as far as the main experience of just being in that trans experience, is like that was another burden that we had to lay on our back of like, oh fuck, like now I can't even go nowhere. Like, let alone I gotta go somewhere by myself. But now I have to I can't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's a humbling experience. But then when you look at, even when we look at this, well, we got 10 people on here, we each are in a space that is to some degree our own. So I'm thankful in that. Like, yeah, I'm bugging. My mind might be going a different place, but I know how to get somewhere and sit down because I'm in a safe space for now to be in that space to think about where I'm at and what my intentions are and how after this, what am I going to be doing and how I'm going to lead.
Yeah. I definitely know after this we're excuse the explicit I used before, but we're definitely going to be much stronger, wiser, and better. And we already those things, but I think this is just something that we will add to. I always say add it to your credit card of experiences, right? So we'll add in this to our credit card of experiences, and we can actually tell somebody we live this experience. And not to make it a lot about me and my life, but in Belize, we experience hurricanes, serious blackouts. And I tell people that is the worst thing, because that is, a hurricane is water that just keeps coming and coming and coming. So some of these experiences are important to our identity and who we are. And it just, some of us, it's an opportunity, like you said, a teachable moment to share with the rest of us. Javon, I see you shaking your head. Did you want to add something?
Yeah, so I felt that, and I felt everything that was said, because what I know, we are a resilient bunch of people, right? And where we come from, we have been through a lot, and our sisters and brothers have been murdered and discriminated against, and we've shut in ourselves, not to be um disrespected, right? So now that we're shut in because we're told that we have to be shut in,
Mm-hmm.
right? We've done this already, and we've overcome that, right? So this COVID-19 is just another stepping stone for us to get over, but safely, right? So what I was talking to Shayla about before, I was saying, Shayla, when this is over, right? Everyone is gonna rush outside because hallelujah, it's done and over with. But I'm here to tell you, and mark my word that I said this, the new strand is gonna come back, because everybody's gonna run out. Everybody is gonna run out in swarms, and there's gonna be parties and groups, and I need y'all to stay in. Just give it another week, right? I need all my trans family to stay in another week. Let them fools run out there, because it's going to be that one person that's, oh no, I'm fine. I quarantined for 14 days. Well, why are you coughing? And it's going to spread again, but it's going to come back worse. So I'm listening to y'all, and I'm like, all of this stuff we overcame. We've overcome. Like, I'm gonna take y'all back, right? I heard what you say about the hurricanes, right? But I'm gonna take y'all back to segregation. I'm gonna take y'all back when they unleashed the dogs on our ancestors. I'm gonna take you back when they put the water hoses on our ancestors, and we overcome that, right? So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna keep moving on. We're gonna keep stepping up, and we're going to keep uplifting each other. These Zoom meetings, I'm going to keep harassing Sammy Joe and some more people that don't want to come into the room. But just to see somebody's face and to hear her say, oh my goodness, I know everybody on here, right? That's good. We saw her and she saw us. So I feel better because I saw my cousin, right? So that's one less person that I have to check on. You see what I'm saying? So this, I love this. Thank you for having this, Shayla. This is important. We need more of this, and all the stuff that we have overcome through the centuries. This is just another thing for us to overcome. But we just have to do this safely because we can't see this virus. You know, we saw HIV and AIDS. We know that came from sex, right? This is in the air, so we have to be careful so that we can move forward and make our community, the trans community, stronger, bigger, and better. So I'm still here. I'm still awake, y'all. Thank you.
It's in the air. It's on the doorknobs. It's on the pizza boxes. It's everywhere.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? I remember in 2018, I got the flu shot in April, and then I went to the doctor back towards the end of the year, and then they told me that basically that you have to get a flu shot in the spring and the fall because the strand changes, and I was like, what? But I was also noticing a trend where this year, this school year particularly, typically when a child is sick, they're out 2 3 days. I had children out a week, 2 weeks, and I said since December, and I kept saying this isn't normal, something's not right. And we had a lot of absences even in January, and I'm like, this isn't right, this isn't normal. And parents would say, yeah, my child has a respiratory infection, this, the doctor can't figure out what's wrong with them. And I'm like, what the hell is going on this school year? And typically we get a lot of rain in LA in January, maybe. Rain this year came late. So I was like, well, maybe the rain. So this was already setting up itself. We sadly, and when I say we, I just mean us as a human race, weren't really paying attention to these different things that were happening. And so even in schools, because children play with each other, they interact with each other, and that's the first way they get sick, right? Teachers get sick, parents get sick. And so I was like, something isn't right. And then by February, the end of February, I was like, oh hell no, something definitely. When you have a classroom and there's only 6 or 8 kids showing out of 15, you know something isn't right. So we have to pay attention to our schools too, because initially they were like, it's not affecting the children, but if your child has a pre-existing condition, whether it's asthma or they have allergies or they're allergic to nuts or whatever, this can really trigger it. And we know the cost of medication and a lot of different factors really affect our school system and children. So it's a lot of things
But
that
you hit it on the nose, Chanel. So this happened last year, right? So my wife is in the health field, and she caught this back in
Mhm.
October. She
hmm
was bad for 2 months. For 2 months, she could not shake this cough. She was walking around here, and I'm like, "You look bad, like bad,
Yep.
bad."
Mhm.
And
They're
she has
calling it the whooping
diabetes.
cough.
She has
I had it. I
diabetes.
had it
She
in.
could not get rid of it for 2 months, and she has to take that flu shot because she works in the hospital,
Uh-huh.
right? So they force it on you. But the
hmm
thing is, remember, some people got the wrong shot. There was the flu shot. Some people got the wrong flu shot or something. And I'm like, how you giving somebody the wrong flu shot? And what is the wrong flu shot? What did you give them?
Exactly. hmm
So
I had it back in December also myself, and
hmm
a couple of my family members had it also, and I'm convinced that's what it was. It was, COVID's been around for years. This is nothing new. It's a superbug, and there's all kind of superbugs. It's just gotten super, but it's not like it just popped out of anywhere. It's been around. It's just it's like you said. It's just a stronger strand of whatever it is. And the government, they just didn't take it serious enough to try to uh, uh, find a solution for it way back whenever, 5 years ago,
I have
4 years
I
ago,
have
or
to, I have
whenever.
to say something. I'm sorry for interrupting you. They knew
Hmm.
because there was a whole
Oh
pandemic
yeah, they
team
knew.
set up. There was a
Hmm.
pandemic team set up, and Mr. Trump, he's not my president, he
Right.
dismantled the pandemic team, right?
Hmm.
And they told him that they have been watching this in China
Right.
and it's coming our way. He didn't believe it. He was like, we don't need y'all. We're not going to put our money into this. This is a waste of time.
Because viruses don't jump borders, right?
Right. Exactly. And people are dying that haven't died before. You fool.
Right.
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 So they knew it was happening. But you
Mm-hmm.
also have to keep in mind that and I don't want to take people's mind off of the COVID-19, but that 5G upgrade is happening right up underneath our noses, right? So when China did the 5G upgrade, massive amount of people died from that. And this 5G upgrade is they want you to think that is so you'll have better service on your phones and your internet and this and that. That's not the reason for the 5G upgrade. The reason for the 5G upgrade is so that they can trade money in Wall Street in faster, right? That 1/10 of a millisecond means we can get more money before Russia, China, Korea, and everybody's, trying to get rich faster and easier, right? Because they're doing these trades, right? And it's also for weapons of mass destruction, right? That's what this 5G upgrade. So China is already working on the 6G upgrade because they're more advanced than we are, right? So
It's to activate the digital dollar, right?
yes, you got it.
Yes.
You got
Uh-huh.
it. And that's where things are moving towards. So if I can move $1 trillion in 1/10 of a millisecond to buy gold before Germany, I'm going to make that much more money. This is all about money. And this
Mm-hmm.
COVID-19 is happening to mask what's really going on. So if you also notice during this COVID-19, look how many bills are being passed right up underneath our noses because we're paying attention to all these people dying, but we're not paying attention to the fact that we're losing our rights.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to pay attention to everything that's going on. They're passing massive things, and I swear to you, I took so my brother works in the Pentagon, and I told him if we lose our rights to vote, if we lose our rights as Black people, it's because we weren't paying attention, right? If women lose their rights, it's because they're not paying attention, right? They put so much attention. Every channel that you turn on is COVID-19. That's the first thing you see on the news, the commercials. Everyone is cashing in on this. These masks, everyone is buying masks. Those masks don't work. People are making home masks, and I'm not trying to knock nobody's hustle. Those masks do not work.
I think it's a telling sign that we I think again for our country, when you look at the disproportionate reactions toward the Black community and the people of color who first was saying that we wasn't the ones worried about it, we wasn't the ones gonna get it, it don't happen to us, we making a joke. I'm not even saying we making a joke, but you seen it of like, oh, because we got melanin, we not gonna get it. But then turn around a month, 2 months down the line, we are the most affected. We are the most ones dying because of the already fractured infrastructure of healthcare. When you look at United States against all the other countries and how they say everybody else have free healthcare, free all this other stuff, to get their money after the first 2-3 days, it's a telling sign that how United States of America views its people. And from a spiritual person, from a person who feel everything, I think that's the thing that just heavy on me, like this man, this leader, and not even to put it just to him, but he has the platform. You are our leader. And you get up on a platform and say, well, if we have just 100,000 people, that'll be fine. Are you fucking kidding me? That's somebody's family member. You telling me, oh, that's gonna be fine because you don't care of who it affects. And I think what this should do, what I want this to do for our community, Black, brown, LGBT, trans, gender nonconforming, everybody, is to get us on one accord. I might not like certain individuals, but I want to see you survive. I want to see you uplifted. I want to see you getting your money. I want to see you in a safe space. And we cannot depend on these said organizations that we give our tax, if we have allotted to give our tax money to, give our time to. Yes, all those type of things. And I think that's the thing that's mind-boggling of like, it is true. We do get distracted, but at the same time, for the most part, is it really our fault? It's like for Black people, for people of color, for people of the LGBT community, we on 100% hustle every day. Every day I got to get up and see how I'm going to survive. And I think when you have that and when you've been in there for so long, this new thing comes, drops on your lap, and you're like, what? I gotta add this to the Ferris wheel of where I'm going to try to get through life. And I think hopefully that once, like you said, it should be a staggering release, because I do feel that that is going to be a telling sign that once people say that it's okay to go, they just made an announcement out here that they extended to what is it, May 30th or May 15th?
May 15th.
May 15th. It was April 30th, but now they extended to May 15th. So I already know in people's mentality, cabin fever is setting in. People are getting like angst of trying to get out their house. And I think it's a telling sign once again that for the majority of people, they can't be by themselves. And I think that's the thing that's going to push them out to go and do those and get into those spaces. And I've talked to many friends that are still going out, that are still doing certain things. And of course, I'm going to be the one to tell them, but you still grown. And so I think it's the simple fact, it hurts because I know across the board, people have been affected. Like, I realize that we as a country and across the world that people die and every day, I get that. But I think when you hear that amount of people in one day, you be like, how, what? Like, so I think for me as a person who is just a feeler, I just cannot fathom like that amount of people every day. And if our one thing to save the nation or to save the community is to just stay inside, try to do your best to do that. And I know it's hard. I know it's something new, but I think about those individuals, the elder, the people who have compromised systems, all those things. We still might have compromised systems and we don't know it. Like, so it's just, if I can do one thing, that is to like try my best to stay inside.
I think if I could jump in, I just wanted to piggyback off of Nina, because so this is the modern day red herring, right? Where we're getting all these distractions, right, to really distract us from what's going on. And of course, the people of color are the ones that are always going to be the most affected by it. But to highlight what's been going on, I can honestly say that I am proud, right? Because in this time, especially with something that we cannot control, right? In terms of like the COVID-19 situation, community has came together. And I want to say that, I want to say it louder for the people in the back, because a lot of us have taken on extra, things or, not even events, but just, trying to do stuff to ensure that we're paying it forward for the rest of our community that don't have access, right? Even when prior to the COVID situation. And I just wanted to say that because I know that, this is the reality of the situation. There's just some things we can't control. But at the same time, with what's going on, it was kind of like how the white and blood cells work, right? They give each other a bump, a push, and we got that push, and people have been coming together. And just like you said, we don't all like each other. I promise you on that. We ain't all friends, but we do want to see everybody succeed, right, and survive. And to be fair, like with what's going on now, I can honestly say that that has what has been occurring. And so I'm proud because I'm like, you know what? Look, we got people on here who don't, who probably wouldn't text as much as they did before, who wouldn't use a laptop, but they out here figuring out just to make sure, like, oh, we're getting all these funds, we're getting all these fund GoFundMe's created, we're getting all these relief funds. Well, we're gonna figure out how to look. And me, I mean, I may be right on the beginning of millennials, but I'm not that tech savvy. But I promise you, I'm an expert now. And I'm just like, you know what? Okay, well, shit, we gonna figure it out. And you know what? And that's one thing that I'm like, everybody has been coming together, figuring out their strengths and what they could bring to help continue uplifting the community. And I think it's a great, literally, right, a literal sight to see because we're on virtual. Everything's virtual now, and we're physically seeing this. But it's also like amazing because, like I said, people are coming out of the woodwork, you know, and coming out of their own comfort zone and again surprising themselves on how much they care and how much they can provide and are providing for each other, you know. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there for all of us because, you know, we all doing this. It's not just one of us, it's everybody. And to be fair, like, everyone is showing up in the way that they can, and to you know, keep it going further, like, everyone is showing out, right? Because in these times where we're very restricted with a lot of, you know, movement and kind of putting a damp on our normal routine, this is the new normal, and we're figuring it out to make sure that we're extending, you know, the resources and the services to folks, you know, across the nation.
Thank you, Jesse. I wanted to get a perspective from Julia Rose. I mean, I know the East Coast is a little bit different from the West. And I also know right now there's a lot more cases of COVID-19. And so I wanted to know, what are some strategies that you're using from day to day to survive? What does that look like?
I I asked a question in the chat because it's already stressful and emotional to me to even deal with the COVID thing. I just wanted to know if COVID-19 was going to be the only topic of conversation tonight. I'm not trying to be rude or sound funny, or I'm a rip the Band-Aid off kind of person. I just need, because I can't, like, mentally keep talking about it. I already am like, my nerves are on 5,000 all the time, all the time, all the time. I'm like, and Davina, she's here in the group, but she's staying with me right now, and I drive her crazy. I'm spraying everything down with bleach 50 times a day, and I know she's like, but I'm like crazy. I can't like keep drilling this. I can't keep talking about it over and over again. I'm sorry, guys.
No, I'm here with you too,
don't be
sis.
sorry.
Please
It's
don't.
cool.
I'm here with you.
This is a safe
We hear you.
Yes.
We hear you.
We could definitely go to another subject.
Yes.
I apologize.
It is unfortunate because COVID-19 is just a part of our new reality right now. And so, but Julie, we completely understand. For one, I'm exhausted. You know, like our org had a town hall last week. My other org I work with had a town hall today. So yes, COVID has completely taken up the headlines. So, but Julie, by all means, you could shift us. We are all ready for a shift, Mama.
Javon was speaking about rights that were being taken away. What are some of the things that you're noticing in these meetings that are being taken away from our community? I'm going to be honest. I've been around a long time. I might seem like a new girl or a young girl. I've been around a long time, and I've kind of dipped in and out of the community, kind of taking stealth status sometimes. But yeah, like I want to know. I want to kind of be more visible, kind of be more
in tune,
proactive, be a part of.
Okay, so I know for a fact that right before this um, came up, the pandemic, that we were going back and forth to Albany to fight for sex workers' rights. We were fighting for the rights of the prisoners, prison reform, the trans space in the prisons at Rikers. We want to shut Rikers down, and so right now none of that is happening. Right? Um, they put this new order out that these low rate, I'm not saying it, verbatim, but any misdemeanors, people that are in jail for robbery, for drugs, stealing, they're letting these people out, right? Um, is it
Nonviolent
funny?
crimes.
Right, nonviolent crimes. Thank you for that. Yeah, my mind is still on COVID. I apologize. So you're here in New York, so you know Grace, Detrova. So Grace has been spearheading this from Osborne, and we're with them with the prison, the bail reform, the prison to shut down Rikers, and there's some other things in that. I can actually email you everything that's happening now in Albany. I also sit on the committee for Equality New York, and when I saw the stuff that was happening for Advocacy Day, we were supposed to physically go to Albany. Now we're having a virtual Advocacy Day. What what in the heck is that going to do? Like when we have our Advocacy Day and we go to Albany and we're knocking on these senators' doors, half of them send their secretary out there to talk to us, to take pictures with us, and to give us little goodie bags, and we never get to see our councilmen and stuff like that. But now we're having a virtual town halls, and we're having virtual meetings and all this other stuff. This is not gonna fly. So while we're having all these meetings virtually, they're not passing the things that they're supposed to be passing. They're gonna give us something like you said, that you are pull the band-aid off type person. Well, they're giving us these little band-aids to, oh, well, you want to close Rikers because you don't think it's right and the extremes are, too horrible. Well, let's let some of these people out. Well, what the heck is that gonna do? Right? So they're letting them out, they're contracting COVID-19, and they're dying. Right? So I hate that it comes back to that, but this is what's happening, and it's our people, because the population that is in the jail are Black and brown people. These are the people that they detain, Black and brown people. I'm not sure if y'all see this, but how many white people did they stop, like, that are not from America? Like, I'm sure there's some German people and Russian people that are here that don't belong here, but all we see is Mexicans, Muslims, and Chinese people and Japanese people that are being detained and ripped away from their families. But I don't see any people from Russia or none of these other places. Like, I'm confused. So they're giving us these little band-aids. Oh, well, let's release this person. Let's release that person. No, we
How
want
can we make a difference?
well, we have been intentionally flooding the councilmen's emails and phones and sending letters. So this is what we've been doing. Um, I've been trying to get with Kiara to do podcasts to expose all the things that are happening, that we know that's happening, right? Talking about it on social media and tagging them, right? So that their secretaries and whoever they have to assist them can contact us to say, hey, this is what we see that you're doing, and this is what we need you to do, right? So Let's go to them and intentionally call them out, because we've called you in already. We've called you in many years to come help us. This is what we need. The trans community needs ABC, but now you're pushing us to the side. We Our needs have to be met. This has to happen. So contact the media and let them know, and have your facts, and put it all down on paper, because if it's not in black and white, it never happened. If you didn't send it in an email, they could say it never happened. You have to have proof that you contacted these people. So yeah, but I'll put my email here so that we can stay connected, and I'll share the emails that I get from the governor and the mayor here in New York, so that you can stay up with what's happening, and we'll give you all the information, because in New York it's real.
I
I don't
sent it to
know.
you. I sent you my email.
Okay, all right. I don't know what's happening in California, but I could tell you here in New York, and my wife works at the hospital. She works at Bellevue, which is right next door to the men's shelter, right? They have these refrigerated trailers, and they are full of bodies. This is real. This is real. She made a video, right? And you, like you said, you're dying alone. These people are dying alone. We have people that are scared to go to the hospital because they don't want to be there by themselves. They want to stay with their family. All right, so we gonna get off. We gonna get back off that. But but in
But
New York, it's real. It's real right now. I'm sorry.
thank you for definitely sharing that. And ultimately, the Unique Women's Coalition, we're working on a leadership retreat of some sort for our team, and just kind of changing the subject a bit and planning for the future. I just wanted to throw a question out there to everyone. And this is just something for you to think about. As it relates to you just being a leader, or you just taking charge. This is a new year and we're gearing up for another new year as well within your own personal life. Um, if you had access to your leadership, 100% access to your leadership all the time, what would be different? And I'm going to start with Julia, because I'm trying to change the tone a little bit. So again, if you had access to your leadership 100% of the time, what would be different? And you can keep it specific to the Black trans community. You could keep it to just whatever your design is.
I'm not sure what you mean by the question. Like, if I had access to my leadership, as in my career, as in my life, as in my community.
You could pick whichever of those.
Um,
Let's say community. Thinking about like what you like or don't like already about community. What would be different? You're now in charge. You're now in control. What would be different?
I don't know. I don't know. That's why I think I've come in and out so much of the community, because when I come in, it's not the kumbaya, it's not the family, it's not what, and it sounds lovely. It really
Mhm.
does sound lovely. Well, oh, and we're here and lift and light and sisters and kings and queens. It's never that way. It's just never is.
Okay.
I don't know if
So
it could be a wall. You know how many girls I know? Like, how many girls I have in my book? I have, like, in my phone right now, I have 300 trans, just post-op trans women from Canada to London to America and almost every major city. If I could get everybody to come into one big, and they could see, for them to see it, actually see, I think that'll make a huge difference for somebody to see how many of this, because you could just throw out the numbers, oh, it's this and that, but when we do these things, and we go to these, I've never done it, so I don't. You go to the Congress people, and you um,
Lobby.
I'm sorry, lobby. I'm sorry.
No
I've
worries.
never done. And it always, when I see pictures and I see videos online, because I'm friends with Kiera, I invited her to come with me here tonight, and she was like, "I'm really sleepy. I'm gonna try to make it," but it's always 5 or 6 of us, you
Mhm.
know, so they can't get a real visual. And I think they know to a certain extent that there's a lot of us, but they've never seen it together. Like when we come out for Pride and we walk in a big ass group of all our girlfriends, then it really it takes an effect. Everybody's looking. They're like, oh, okay, they are here. I don't know. That's what I would do. But I don't know what would happen after that.
And I piggyback off of Julia, I want to say that I have the burden of understanding. I want the whole community to be on one accord. I think we are such powerful entities by ourselves that, you know, piggybacking again on what I said earlier, is like, you don't have to like me, but I want to uplift you. I want you to get it as much as I do. And I think for us is what we battle with, due to the fact that we always had to be by ourselves. We always had to be our own cheerleader group. We always had to be our own person to check into us. We just might not. It is harder for when you have created this machine of familiarity with yourself. You know how to get your money, you know how to pay your bills, you know how to get groceries, you know how to do all these things. It's then, I believe, opening that space of trust. And I think that's the thing we really battle with, of trusting our fellow brothers and sisters and people of the gender nonconforming, of just even trusting us enough to say, hey, I got your back. And if you don't have mine, I'm okay. Because what I'm doing, my intent is to better the community.
Mm-hmm.
Like, excuse my French, but fuck all this fuck shit. And let's get to the root of uplifting our community. Because it should be more people on here. It should be more people knowing about our different agencies. They know it, but it's just a simple fact of them trusting, I believe, because it's just that hard thing, just when you always had to be by yourself. It's like, we
So
gotta give
I
it. Me and Sheila
agree.
talks about that as well.
I don't want
I
to.
agree.
I love it. I don't want to interrupt you. So Nina, what will be different about your leadership then, if you had access to it 100%?
I would really be. I'm a rebel. I'm a rebel rouser. I am a. I am a pusher, but I also put my energy into backing up what I stand for. And so, what I really want to see, and what I really want, and what I in leadership, is that everybody is a leader. Everybody in this room is a leader. We can't just delegate it to a certain set of individuals. Every time we step out our house, anywhere we go, we speak up for the trans community, Black people, Latino people. We do that. And so when having that mindset and going into those places, those teachable moments are already there. We just have to come to the understanding of saying, okay, I'm a beacon for this.
Uh-oh.
Don't do that. Come on, like I said before, my leadership is coming on one accord with everybody of the experience. Let's get to the root of the matter. Let's calm these egos if we have them. Let's set aside our differences if we have them. Because the number one, even in, I hate to bring it back here, but even in the midst of this fucking disease, they still killing my trans sisters. Period. They don't care. So let alone we got another thing to add on to what we got to deal with we still getting killed in these streets by our own people. So for me, it's the simple fact of coming on one accord because we have power. I mean, I'm at Ahmad Institute as well as UWC. My brother is at LGBT Center. We have other activists at different spaces and different branches of organizations and businesses and everything we could call upon, but we just have to get to a space of saying, yeah, I don't know you, but I welcome you into my space and I trust you enough to know that because you have my lived experience, I'm gonna trust you just enough to know that you possibly will have my back.
Thank you, Nina. Galaxy 850, I keep forgetting your name. I apologize, but I wanted to ask you the same question about your
Davina.
leadership. Say it again.
Davina.
Davina. Davina, are you still there?
She done fell asleep, honey.
Oh my God. I hope we weren't.
And now
Hey,
she's here with me. She's just she's not sure of how to answer the question.
Thinking about, I'm gonna try to put it a little differently. Thinking about her community, right? Or maybe even herself personally. If she had access 100% to say many different resources, what would she do differently? She could take some time and think about it.
I'm okay. Just to give a little backstory on her, she hasn't even been in the country for this long. So she's kind of still found it hard to find her voice and I've always had to be the one to be like, you better leave her alone. I have to be big bad bitch all the time to back her up. So I think she's trying to. I'm looking at her. She's making a face. Go ahead.
Okay, if I were to have a chance to do something different, what I would really encourage is I would encourage a lot of the youths that's coming up now to really focus on their education and take them from my personal experience, just take the new generation that's coming up now, take them out of the sex work and show them what every heterosexual male or female does, like, go to school, get an education, get a regular job, not just be subjected to being sex workers and going through that. And it's tough. The society itself is not, if you're gay, they'll give you a job, they'll put you through school, but the minute you come out trans, they look at you like you're stupid, like you're crazy. You walk on the street, you get all these funny eyes. I would really do something to better that, to focus on bringing more awareness, like taking the kids. It's just so sad to see what's going on, like, the homelessness with like the trans kids, the all of these things is just ridiculous. It's like, what happened to we being normal, like having a normal life, a regular education, growing from there, just sitting down and like having the mentors, having the older ones that surround us, like, encouraging us to do that, to better ourselves in terms of that. Not just trying to like post an ad, go to the next stage, trying to get some money, try to do this. I think I would do that. I would inspire the youths to really sit there and focus and think about what they really want to do with themselves. And, I think something has to be done so society wouldn't just put us into a little corner and just leave us there. Like, that's it. That's just all you're going to be. Like, no, there has to be something done to open better ways for us and for the future generation. Because right now, like my little cousins, they're like 15, 16. They want to be trans. Like, you know what it is? And like, what am I really going to sit there and I'm going to tell them, yeah, that I'm still, I'm still trying to find a path. In that way, I could be like, okay, well, I'm trans, but I'm a doctor now. Okay, I'm a lawyer now, but unfortunately, I'm not there yet. I'm going to be because I'm planning to go to pre-med school. But I have nothing yet to show these kids to be like, you know what? Well, someone needs to step up. We need to get out there and get more education, just to be able to create a better future for the future transgender kids. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would focus on, more awareness of like more groups in like high schools and like stuff like that, like for the community to really and truly get out there and get to talk to them, cause I may not have a lot of like education and stuff like that right now, but I do have survival skills and I could teach a lot about surviving. So I figured it has to do, I would do that. I'll get out there more with the youths and I would try to like, pick them up and show them that, listen, whatever the past generations had to go through, we had to go through, but the future generation, it's gonna be better. You know what I'm saying? That's what my whole take, and that's what I would do differently. I'd really get out there to the youths. I'll mentor them properly, and I'll just build them up so in that way they don't have to think about anything else. You know what I'm saying?
That's inspiring. I thumbs up, everyone. Thumbs up. I love
Thank
that. Thank you
you.
for sharing. I saw Queen Carlisha come in, and I wanted to give her an opportunity just to share something because this is a space, and I just wanted you to we just asked a question in regards to leadership, and the question was, if you had access to your leadership 100% of the time, what would be different? And you could subject that simply to either community, yourself personally, or however you want to take it. Oh, unmute, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yay! Hey boo, hey.
Deep bow. Thank y'all so much for having me and creating this space. So I'm gonna hit on that, but I'm gonna preface it with the reason why I was late getting on here is I was watching the Revolt conversation regarding COVID-19 and so many. I'm gonna try not to get emotional because I literally, when I got the message from Nina, I was like, I just finished it. I needed to like decompress. And it was a really fucking heavy conversation and a conversation with so many layers to it. And we fucking had it as a community. But at the end of it, all I kept thinking was within this amazing moment of being, raw and open with us as said community, our voices still were not up there. We still weren't, represented. However, when we start looking at these numbers and the level of disparities and how many of us are dying, just in the vein of COVID-19, it's just so wowing how COVID-19 is just the prequel to our real opportunity and us not taking the severity of community serious and not us, doing what we can to abandon said, crab bucket mentality and making sure that we are taking care of self first and then in essence taking care of others. And my takeaway actually to answer the question, if I had complete control of leadership, my first objective would be to bridge the gap amongst all of us, because one thing that's very clear is it would be amazing just to see the trans continuum bind and find their resilience and their voice and their footing and their strength and all of that. But to take it a step further, then to build our community with our allies, with those who look like us and understand the struggle such as us, and just to see this trifecta of strength amongst beyond our gender, but what the fuck we see in the mirror, because what this virus is teaching us is we've been a target in a way that has gone so far over our head that this not the saying is now when the world gets a cold, the Black community gets the flu, and we're dealing with some real shit right now. And I was a part of that problem, not really taking it seriously. And my takeaway is we got to have us first. So if I could do anything with leadership, it would, in the famous words of Miss Queen Bey, get us all in fucking formation, get us all speaking the same fucking language, get us all understanding that loving self, as uncomfortable as it may make others who don't look like us feel. And unfortunately, I can't give a fuck about your feelings because I need to feel good in me. And in me feeling good in me means me making sure others who look like me are taken care of. So we have this synergy amongst us, an unspoken word, an ability to, you know, prioritize. It's not the cock getting taken care of before the broken ankle, because we're a fucking unit and we get what needs to be taken care of. And that's what I would do with leadership.
So
Julia raised her hand.
Carlisha, nice to meet you. I'm Julia. I think what you said was beautifully put. I kind of wanted to know, with everything that you just said, would you take the next step and just start sending friend requests out to every girl that you see on social media?
You know what, to be honest, I haven't really mapped out what it looked like. It was just, my answer more so would be, in the big scheme of things, if I had the opportunity to have all the tools I needed as a leader, this is what I would do with it. So, you know, in layman's terms, right now, to start this action, my efforts are more so getting us to start, you know, that ball rolling, and how we can ensure we're doing our part in taking care of community as well, and loving ourselves better so we can be that much more of a pillar.
I think all of us has this great idea of how it should be, but nobody is taking the first step. Like, nobody is coming down off that pedestal. Nobody is bringing that ego down. And to be honest with you, I'm going to be honest with you. I tried it one time. One year I said, I'm going to send a friend request. That's the reason why I asked you that question. I said, I'm going to send a friend request to every girl I know, every girl I see. There's so much ego. When is everybody going to start putting that into action?
Well, I think a big opportunity with what you're sharing, and thank you for being open, but it's really about, you know, Albert Einstein's breakdown of what insanity is. And that's, you know, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. If you're continually looking at community through the lens of looking for the ego and, you know, having the opportunity and expecting that disconnect, unfortunately, by way of law of attraction, that's what you're going to keep getting. But if you open up yourself to just seeing where you can have those aha moments, I'm not, you know, to speak on that, I'm not someone who's on the front line like Unique Women's Coalition or the Ahmad Institute, but when I have the opportunity to use my platform for whatever reason, I'm gonna fucking use it. And that's just me doing my due diligence and sharing my voice and being visible and, you know, being vulnerable to my community. And then by way of that, the girl who's ready to receive it is who reaches out. So it's not so much about, you know, chain and reaction. It's about, are you willing to step out there and be vulnerable and not expect anything from anyone, but just pull your own weight?
I wanted to just thank you all, and I really want to thank you, Queen Carlisha and Julia, for that point. It is not easy to be brave and to be that brave, and gosh, I'm kind of flabbergasted, to say the least, because when it comes to making connections, especially with your trans siblings, sometimes that in itself can be a challenge. And like you said, when we step off that high horse, it's not until then when things are going to see that. And we discussed a lot of great ideas, and yes, and some of it will take action and some of it will come slowly, but we must, again, like you said, Queen Carlisha, that lens, we have to sometimes reframe the way we think and we see things too. And it takes a lot of work, and it's not easy to be vulnerable. It's not easy to be brave. But I thank you for those points, and they're really, really, really appreciated. You give me a lot to think about. Mother Queen Shayla.
So what I did, here was beautiful. And I hear each and every one of you. I just want to say that what we're doing right here is part of the change. What we see in this screen right now, I mean, we have had up to 20 people in this call at once at times. But this is a part of the change that we want to see. This is the space where we start building with each other. When I say that our org's mission is to be a collective voice for Black trans culture, that's exactly what we mean. And that means from our youth to our adults to our seniors. And that also includes our brothers. We are very intentional on how we approach this, but we know that we cannot approach this unless we build with each other first. And so I thank each and every one of you for sharing your time with us, for coming out of your comfort zones. But all this takes trust. We've talked about trust, we've talked about building, and we are going to be the authors that change that narrative. But we can only do that if we work together. And I like to use the word collective because it can't just be my vision. It can't just be your vision, but we all need to start communicating with the same language. When we say that we are here to lift our community, when we want to move our community forward, we can't just put the community on one of our backs. We have to create a line so we can put a motherfucker on top of the back, okay? So not one of us is bearing all the weight. So teamwork really does make the dream work. So I do thank you. Minister Lee, I saw that you raised your hand.
Yes, I wanted to piggyback on what you just said about.
Oh, I just cursed and realized you were in the room talking.
On to hell.
Sorry.
No, I was just saying. I just wanted to say the same thing. Is that this is what leadership looks like right here, and you have to remember that we come from generations of people who um, aren't. Everybody's not used to being in the front lines, and then and a lot of our people, the trans people, are coming from areas where they're not even taught. They don't even know about standing up and going out there and fighting for what it is you want and what you need. You know, a lot of our community, all they know from little pups, once they discover who they are, is to get out there and party and just have a good time and run the streets. And so you can't expect, you have 300 girls on your list, you may have 25 who are about leadership. You may have another 10 or 15 who are educated enough to want to get, not saying that people are lack of education, but education is what helps make leaders. You know, educating yourself in what community is about, educating yourself in school, educating, just learning about life in general. But people have to slow down to want to do that. A lot of people are used to just riding on the backs of everybody else. And so when you are, you surround yourself around people who like this, who are about what you are, birds of a feather, you know. And so out of those 300, you find those 10 or 15 people, and that's who you surround yourself with, and then that's how you start to build. But then we also have to work on gaining our own things, our own stuff. Just like as Black people, we have to gain our own stuff. As trans people and Black trans people, we have to gain our own stuff. We have to get our own trans centers going instead of relying on the gay and lesbian center. We can't rely on lesbians and gays to talk for us because we're in a different space than they are. You know, we have to get involved in in the NAACP and other organizations that have power, and so that they get to know who we are and they get to know us. And when they know us and we're in that space where we can speak and speak for ourselves and tell them what it is we need. And I'm backing you, you back me. I go into a lot of spaces and a lot of faith-based spaces where I'm the only trans person there, but I have to come out as this is who I am. I'm a Black man of trans experience, and I am a minister. I am a faith leader, and I'm a spiritual leader. And I'm here to tell you about my community and what it is that they need. And that's how we build, is by gaining and grabbing and getting our own and surrounding ourselves around people who are like us in order to move forward. That's all I want to
Okay.
say. Amen.
2 points. 2 points I wanted to make. First, Carlisha, I think I should say I didn't want it to seem as if I was picking on you by the making that statement or directing that question towards you. It was just simply you were the last person to say, because we've all had the kumbaya moment since we started the group, and you were the last person, so I just directed the question to you. So I should have said it to the room. I wanted to correct that. That's number one. But number two, I think we need to be careful as quote unquote leaders. The reason why I have over 300 girls in my phone is because I feel that I have been that person not to place it. Because as leaders, we tend to be, especially leaders in the trans community, we tend to be a little condescending towards the girls who come out. And remember, everybody's transition is completely different. And when they come out, the majority of them will start the club, will start hoeing, will start doing it. They feel like a bird. They feel like free. They're going through a second puberty. They're high on estrogen. We have to be very careful not to sound condescending to them. And I think I've navigated that pretty well. The reason why I have so many connections with some of us. So I just wanted to make that second point as well.
Thank you.
I understand that, and I know you had made a statement that you can't get the girls to do and to join. That's what I was saying. You can't expect. I'm saying, I think we're both saying the same thing. You can't expect everybody to want to be on the front lines, because, like you said, they're experiencing their own lives. They're free. They're doing what they want to do and what they need to do. And so, if you're trying, I'm saying out of those 300, you may get 15 people who will want to fight the fight, and who want to help build the community. But the rest of the people are going to be like, "Yay, we did it! It's done." And let's get a piece of it. And we have to understand that and know that we're not going to have, we're going to be that army of only 300 when you're saving the millions.
Thank you. Just went mute. This was great.
This has been a great conversation. But we do want to end it here so we can be respectful of everyone's time. We promise next week we will have this at an earlier time, way early, like maybe
7.
7 o'clock. How's 7 sound, Javon and Julie and Davina?
Yeah, because I'm struggling. I'm over here.
Sounds good.
I'm struggling.
3 bottles of water. I done had some cupcakes. I'm trying to stay awake. It's almost 2 o'clock in the morning here.
No, we appreciate everyone for your time and staying up. We really do.
Yes.
But again, work starts here, love starts here, but building family starts here too. So have a wonderful night. We will see you next week. And thank you for your time. Good night, everyone.
Good night. I wish you well. Good night. Good night. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night. Love you all.
Adios. Kesa, kumbaya.
Good night.
Que sera.